I ran the exact same print on the Anycubic Kobra X and the Bambu Lab A1. The Kobra X finished 9 hours faster. 9 hours. And it cost $100 less. Now, before you click buy, there are a few things Anycubic still hasn't figured out. Air quotes here, in my opinion. I'm Paul. I've been printing on this thing since December, and I'm going to give you the full honest breakdown so you can decide if this is actually worth your money. Quick heads up, Anycubic did send me this unit to test and review, so I got it for free in exchange for the review. Now, if you've been here before, you know how I operate. I call it like it is because I want you making the best decisions with your hard-earned money. You've probably already seen a bunch of Kobra X reviews here on YouTube, so I'm going to skip the fluff. I'm just going to tell you exactly what you need to know. Okay, what is the Kobra X? Let me quickly break down what you're getting here, and more importantly, why it matters. For $299, you're getting the Kobra X, and that's going to give you 260 by 260 by 260 millimeter build volume with a 4-color multi-material system built in. No separate AMS unit to buy, no separate upsell just to unlock multicolor printing. That's the headline. Because when you look at the Bambu Lab A1 combo, the obvious competitor, you're paying $399 for that. That's $100 more. Bambu charges separately for the multicolor compatibility. The Kobra X bakes it in a launch. It's all set to go. You also get a hardened steel nozzle rated at 300 degrees Celsius, so you're not limited to just basic PLA right out of the box. That gives you more material flexibility from day one. And if you want to go deeper and crazier, you can scale up to 19 colors later by adding multiple ACE2 Pro units. One small detail I liked, RFID scanning on the front left of the machine. Load an Anycubic filament spool, the printer reads the chip and auto-configures the material settings on the printer. Third-party filaments, you just enter manually, which is no big deal. But the RFID is a really kind of slick quality of life touch. One thing I noticed during setup, the printer beeps when the filament reaches the print head, so you know it's fully loaded. So while you're pushing that material in there, if you're wondering if it's in, you have that audible notification. Now, the print head is noticeably large. I'll get into why I think that might be a problem in the cons section, but first, let's talk about what the machine actually does. All right, let's talk about some of my print tests. Now, before I go into specific prints, here's what I was measuring. Print time, output quality, and filament waste from prime towers and, of course, the purges / poops. Because faster and cheaper only matters if what comes off the bed is actually good. First, I ran the first layer calibration print. The result? Perfect. No adhesion issues, no warping, consistent across the entire plate. For context, unlevel beds are one of the things I was specifically watching out for in this machine since previous Anycubic machines have sort of struggled with the bed levelness. So, first test passed. Test 1 was the 4-color cap model. 4 colors, pink, gray, white, black. Same model running simultaneously on the Kobra X and the Bambu Lab A1 with as close to matching settings as I could get. I'll note, this isn't perfectly apples to apples because the slicers handle supports differently. More on that in the cons. But here's what happened. The Kobra X finished in 19 hours and 45 minutes. The Bambu Lab A1 finished in 28 hours and 21 minutes. That's 9 hours faster. 43.5% faster for the statistics nerds out there. That's not a rounding error. That's nearly a full workday back in your pocket. On filament waste, purges, and prime towers, the Kobra X used 286 grams. The A1 used 346 grams. That's a 21% more waste on the Bambu Lab side. One thing that happened mid-print, I ran out of white filament on the Kobra X and missed the notification long enough that there's a noticeable little cold joint / seam on the finished piece. That's on me, but it's a good reminder to stay on top of alerts during long prints. What impressed me though, when the white filament ran out, the machine automatically ejected the remaining section of the end of the spool off to the side. I haven't seen that in other printers I've used, and actually it's really clever. Okay, on the second test I did the X-Wing Fighter. 3 colors this time, white, red, black. Star Wars nerds, you know exactly what this is. Okay, so the Kobra X did it in 7 hours and 58 minutes, and the Bambu Lab A1 took 9 hours and 35 minutes. So that's 1 hour, 37 minutes faster, or about 20% quicker for the Kobra X. Now, filament waste here was much closer. The Kobra X used 66 grams, the A1 used 68 grams, so the gap narrowed significantly on a simpler print. The pattern I'm seeing is this: the Kobra X's speed and waste advantages scale with complexity. More colors, longer prints, bigger gap in your favor. Simpler prints, the gap narrows. Either way, on every test I ran, the Kobra X came out ahead. Print quality across both tests, solid. Nothing I'd flag beyond normal 3D printing variables. The Anycubic app deserves its own moment here because it's generally one of the best features of this machine. You can remote in and watch a live camera feed of your print, actually live, not just a few frames every 30 seconds like the Bambu Handy with the A1. Here's a comparison that stopped me. When you remote in the Bambu Lab A1 through Handy, you basically get a slideshow. The A1 just wasn't built to stream live video back to the app. And it's 2026. That's genuinely a noticeable gap. So for those of us checking on our overnight prints or from the couch upstairs, the Kobra X wins this one clearly because you can remote in, and while the camera angle is probably not the most perfect, you can see what's going on live and several frames per second. Okay, so let's go over the pros and cons of the Kobra X. And don't mind me, I got a pile of notes here I want to share with you. So definitely on the pros is the price. You're getting for $299 a very capable, with no requirements of buying an additional multiple material system, 4-color 3D printer. If you're looking at going with the Bambu Lab combo, as I've mentioned earlier, you're going to be spending $100 more. If you're leaning towards the other competitor of Bambu Lab A1 clones, the Creality offering, that's going to be also $399, but it has a huge AMS unit, which is going to take up a lot of space. Number 2, the bed. Now, they mention in their advertising and such the thermal uniformity, and I really didn't test for that. Having the S1 combo and some other Anycubics that I've been following online, I know that bed levelness has been a challenge for this budget brand. So when this thing ran that first layer test and it was absolutely perfect, I was super happy. That was really great to see. As a result, in all of my testing, I didn't have any fails related to the bed flatness or adhesion issues. None, zero, nip. And I've been printing like crazy since December. Okay, number 3 would be the app. Even at $299, this has a decent webcam and decent lighting. While I'm not crazy about the location, but it is what it is, you can remotely connect to this $299 printer and see what's going on. It's probably doing about 15 to 20 frames per second, and it works. If you have a print that something's going wrong, you can stop it, you can check the status. In comparison, the Bambu Handy, as I mentioned earlier, you don't get that kind of resolution or quality. So that's just a big plus for the Kobra X. Number 4, that multi-material system works extremely well. One of the things I noticed in my testing consistently is that this ran faster than the Bambu Lab A1 in comparison. Now, the other part of this, of course, is the material savings between those poops and all the purge towers and such. Every time I ran multicolor prints on this machine, this always used less material. Now, that could be up to 20% or it could be a lot lower. It just depends on the model and how many colors. So, you know, your mileage may vary, but again, in my testing, this did better in time and definitely eked out the Bambu Lab A1 in material savings. Okay, number 5, I gotta say, Anycubic has done a great job getting firmware updates and improvements out to this 3D printer. Since I received it in December, I have seen a steady amount of updates where it's just gotten better and better and better. And I guess my message to Anycubic would be is don't screw this up. I think Ross said the same thing at Faux Hammer on his YouTube channel. They got a really good thing here. It surprised me. I wasn't expecting to receive this 3D printer. It just magically showed up one day. But again, you know, so far it's doing most everything right. And I hope before they make a new successor, they kind of focus on this one for a little while. All right, let's talk about the cons. And for me, it's the slicer. It's always the software. The hardware works really, really good as a software. Of course, Anycubic makes their own fork of Orca. There are several versions behind where Orca is, and their slicer, in my opinion, is not as good as Orca or even nearly as good as Bambu Studio. One of the recent updates I noticed is that they changed the way that the flushing amounts work. Now, we have a 3D printer that has a drastically different way of moving materials in and out. It's a much shorter path. And I noticed when I was looking at the flushing settings, when you compare to Bambu Studio, when you look in their flushing section, basically you just make one setting change and it affects all the values. If you're not flushing enough, you see red text and it warns you, so you increase your flushing amount to accommodate. In the Anycubic slicer, you have individual colors and you can set multipliers for those, and then there's a multiplier at the bottom, and the printer has a a multiplier setting as well too. So you have multiple places where you're messing with how you're purging materials between colors, and I find that very confusing. And what happened in my case, well, we're coming up on Easter now, so I was printing some of these wonderful little Easter chicks, and going from black to yellow is definitely not working out very well for me in my most recent prints on the new version of the slicer. So I really hope Anycubic gets in there and makes these changes and fixes it, because you can print really fast or faster than the A1, use less material than the A1, but if I'm making 3D prints that are going to be junk, it doesn't mean a thing. So I hope they get on top of that. All right, the next couple, these are nitpicks. You're probably going to laugh. They're probably going to light up in the comment section. Bring it on. The print head is huge. I'm used to the S1 combo and the other Kobra 3D printers where you can see the nozzle and you can see the first layer going down. This thing's huge. When that first layer is going down, until the printhead moves away, you're not sure how that first layer looks. So I'm just used to always watching those first couple layers go down before I walk away from the 3D printer. So having a giant printhead like this, I get while it's there. I mean, you got to put the multi-material system somewhere. I just wish the design had been a little different, so at least we get a better visibility of what's going on down there. Number 3, and this is a big one, clearing jams out of this machine. Fortunately, they have their wiki, they have their QR codes, and they have very detailed instructions on how to clear jams. But either way, it's still not a whole lot of fun. The Bambu Lab A1, when you pull that print head off, it takes the whole top part, the hot end, as well as the nozzle out with it. So it's all one piece. This is a 2-piece design. So if you have to clear the jam, and if you remove the nozzle and the filament's not there, then you have to remove the top part of the nozzle, or the heat, I'm trying to think of the word here, the heat sink, there you go. But to get at that, you have to get at 2 little screws at the back of the print head. And I don't mind messing with these things. I've been messing with 3D printers for 14 years, but for a newbie, I think I would be very anxious about taking apart my print head to clear out a piece of broken filament. So it can be done. You just have to go slow. But I wish they had the 1-piece design similar to Bambu Lab. I understand there's probably patents preventing them from doing that, and I get that. The other thing is, when you do put everything back together and you're trying to put those clips across the nozzle, the part cooling ducts are right there in the way. So you have to do a lot of finger gymnastics, I guess, to get in there and secure that and close it all up. And you also got to be really careful about getting that nozzle just at the right height. So yeah, so it's generally not a good time. So that's that. Like I said, printer's great. I hope you never have a jam or have a clog. But like I said, that was one of my frustrations. It's getting in there, cleaning it up and putting it all back together. Doable, just not fun. All right, the next 2 are really, really minor ones. So you can see here in the 3D printer that we have these PTFE connectors that connect these Bowden tubes to the print head. That's great. But what if I want to protect my materials from the humidity or moisture of where I happen to live? Fortunately, my basement is very dry, so not an issue right now. But it'd be really cool, and maybe someone will come up with this, if the other side here had a PTFE connector, so that if I wanted to take some Bowden tubing and plug that into a dry box or a filament dryer or whatever, that would be really nice to have. So again, maybe there's a way to do that, but that was one of the things I noticed was that, well, this is great, but could be better. The other thing is this giant print head has the LED readout, and it tells you exactly which material is currently printing 1 through 4. To me, that's a lot of real estate that seems a little bit wasted. I've seen where BitQ has come out with some mods for the Bambu Lab A1 series, and they have a little LCD screen here, and the user can change that. They can have it read the nozzle temperature, the bed temperature, the progress of the print, stuff like that. So, and I understand that $299 is only so many features they can add to this machine and still make money selling it. But it seems like, again, this is a nice little what maybe 1.5 inch by 3 inch space. It would have been interesting to see if they could have done something like that. So again, to me, it's a missed opportunity, but I get it. This price point, probably not worth it. All right, let's wrap this all up in a nice little bow and give you this summary. Is it worth it? Hey, for $299 and multi-material system, I think it's an excellent deal. It's definitely going to be faster than the Bambu Lab A1. I've already mentioned that here in the video. Also, the material savings are real. Again, other reviewers are going to rave they saved 50% or 40%, whatever. I saw between 5 and 20%, again, depending on the model, how many colors, and that sort of thing. If you're going to add a whole bunch of AMS units to this thing to do the whole 19 colors, that's crazy. Definitely, maybe different. But the other question, I guess, would be is who is this best suited for? Definitely really good for the hobbyist and folks that want that multiple material. The price is right. Me being very safety oriented, I would say, hey, the money that you're not spending on an AMS, you might want to consider putting this thing in an enclosure. My setup, you probably saw in some of the videos here, I'm using a printed solid CR10 style enclosure. It's big, it's strong, it's got little vents in the back, so if you want to put fire safety systems and things like that. But anyway, I think it's an excellent 3D printer and definitely for that market. If you are the kind of folks that do 3D prints for a professional or you're on a print farm and stuff like that, I don't think I would recommend it for that sort of thing, not at this point. Anycubic has done a really good job. They've really improved their game. They've produced some really good printers lately. The firmware updates have been good. If that slicer worked a whole lot better, I would feel differently. But right now, if you're doing commercial stuff, I still think Bambu has the edge right now. But Anycubic's working on it. Now, I also want to point out that it's $299. So it's easily the most interesting 3D printer that's walked into my little lab here. So definitely worth checking out. If you are interested in buying one, I do have a coupon code down below. It'll save you $15. That coupon code is where nerdy is cool, all one word. And I do have an affiliate link. Now, I want to be completely honest with you and say, look, if you want to use that, that does help my channel. I earn a small commission, and I'm able to keep making videos like this for you. So if you do use that link, I thank you. That's it for this time. If you want to see what I'm up to, check out my social media. I'm on X, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, and of course, here on YouTube. I thank you guys for watching. I look forward to seeing what you're going to post in the comment section. And remember, as I say in all my videos, please print safe.